Welcome back, everybody, to another Q&A with Dr. J. Dr. J. Dunn, the founder of My Happy Genes, the only company that takes into consideration all of your genes and how they work together or don't, as well as your biochemistry. Today, we're going to talk about estrogen and estrogen dominance and how our genes play a role in whether we do end up with an estrogen dominant situation. So, Dr. J, tell us about the genes that help us regulate estrogen.
Yeah, this is a really important topic because our environment is so full of estrogens and hormone
Mm.
disruptors. They're in our sunscreens, even our receipts have hormone disruptors in
Don't
them.
touch that thermal paper.
Ooh, plastic, pesticides. The list is huge. Makeup, a lot of makeup has hormone disruptors in it. We're swimming in a sea of estrogens and other hormone disruptors. And what happens is our receptors, the fake estrogens, can get in there and block the receptors. So it's just going to really trash the rest of our hormones. There are four genes that actually are responsible for enzymes coded by your genes that are responsible for getting estrogens out of the body. So genetic variants there can really cause a lot of problems. One of them is the COMT gene, which we've talked about in the past as more of a personality enzyme. Its role is to break down adrenaline and dopamine and noradrenaline. But another one of its roles is getting estrogens out of the body. And so genetic variants there can cause the estrogens to build up. And over time, estrogens can cause some pretty severe symptoms, but further on down the line, they can lead to thyroid imbalances because they're going to interfere with the conversion of T4 to T3 being the active thyroid hormone. But some of the symptoms of excess estrogens would be like fibrocystic breasts, uterine fibroids, PMS with mood swings, PMS related headaches, acne breakouts, heavy or irregular periods, weight gain around the hips and buttocks. Estrogens are a growth hormone and they're given
Mhm.
to cows to make them gain weight. That's not fun. It can interfere with sleep and brain function. Polycystic ovary syndrome is related. A lot of these things are pretty common now. A lot of women complain of those. And you talk to various women and they say, yeah, I had a full hysterectomy because I had heavy periods or I had fibroids or, yeah. That's one gene. Another one is the SULT gene, the sulfur transferase. One of its jobs is to remove estrogens from the body. And then there's a CYP gene that is it stands for cytochrome P450, and basically it's phase one of liver detox
Mhm.
is also responsible for, especially the 1B1, is responsible for getting estrogens out. And then the UGT, it's a glucuronidation is responsible for, that's phase two of detox in the liver. So if you have genetic variants in any one of those, or two or three of those, especially if you have three of those, or four even,
Mhm.
you're headed for a pretty difficult time with hormones and estrogens. And men too, they have to get them out as well. And they're not immune to getting estrogens in their body and creating man boobs and prostate issues as well, and weight gain and thyroid issues. So it's affecting all of us and it can create infertility because of the hormone disruptors in our environment. I know a lot of alligators supposedly are going very infertile because of hormone disruptors. So,
Poor gators.
yeah, poor gators. So, things you can do to help, of course, getting your genes tested and seeing what genes you have that are associated with estrogens, detoxification of the estrogens, but also being aware of them in your environment and watching the plastics because that's a big, nasty bunch of toxins we're putting in our bodies when we drink water from a plastic bottle or we store things in plastic containers.
Not to mention that the world is soy crazed, and soy is an estrogenic food. And I can't even think of how many food products, everything from protein shakes to tofu, obviously, edamame. We love our edamame at the Japanese restaurant. But for people that have those genes or some of those genes you're talking about, I would imagine it would be good to not have those foods in your diet.
No, that's a good point. And we do test for that food. When you get a slider that tells you whether or not soy is okay for you, according to do you have those genetic variants in the estrogen pathways. And so for some people, soy is good. There's a lot of
Hmm.
research showing that it's high in isoflavones and other things that can be protective. But for some people with these particular genetic variants, that can be a big problem and add to, as you're saying, the estrogen load. But also sunscreens. One of my biggest, I'm very passionate about not using hormone disruptors in sunscreens because I see kids, mothers just spraying them down with these sunscreens that have hormone disruptors in there. And I go, oh my gosh, look what you're doing to your kid. Methoxycinnamate is the most,
That's a mouthful.
yeah, it is. Anything with octyl in it, watch that. That's another thing you can do is avoid those. And then pesticides, eat organic where you can. Avoid pesticides because they are hormone disruptors and often estrogenic.
And
So,
the
and
estrogens that you're talking about, the disruptors, are called by another name, which is obesogens,
yeah,
because they contribute to disrupting that pathway that might actually help you stay at a happy weight. Like you were saying, weight on the buttocks and the middle. And I did a whole paper on obesogens. It's pretty, they're everywhere. When you buy new furniture and it's off-gassing, that's a chemical, that you're breathing in. I'm not saying don't get your new couch. Keep the windows open, go outdoors as much as you can around it. New car smell, we all love that new car smell. Probably not a
no,
good idea.
we don't.
I do. I do
You do?
like new car
Oh,
smell. Oh, yeah.
no, can't do it. But yeah, so everything you can do to lower your load is a
Mhm.
good idea, even without the genetic variants, because it's just overwhelming and it's really disruptive to our physiologies in so many ways.
Now, would you had somebody taken the MHG test and found that they do have a couple of these estrogen variations that cause problems? Are there supplements that help with that, or is it really just a matter of diet and environment?
No, very much so. There are supplements, and just to reiterate the concept, again, our genes tell our body how to make an enzyme. And if you have the wrong code from making that enzyme is going to slow down in its ability to function. And so if that enzyme is responsible for clearing estrogens, let's say, it's going to be slower than most people's. And so that's when estrogens start to build up. But you can take cofactors or coenzymes, and those are minerals or vitamins that then turn the enzyme back on and upregulate it and give it a boost
Hmm.
so that you can detox better. And that's what we're about. That's really what we're doing with my happy genes is we're looking at, okay, what enzymes are slowing down in your body and what targeted nutrients are going to speed up that enzyme. And that's a very different concept than any other company. Most people talk about, oh, whether you have the MTHFR gene, take methylfolate. They don't understand what they're doing. So we've done the research on here's that enzyme, let's say the COMT. We know what cofactors turn it back on so that if you've inherited a slow moving COMT and you can't get estrogens out, we give you the right nutrients to turn it back on and make up for that genetic variant.
So, Dr. J, help people out, give them a picture of what you're talking about. I think it would be really helpful.
Yeah, so the COMT enzyme down here. Again, the purple balloons are where enzymes are in a particular biochemical pathway, and you can have a genetic variant there. So if you notice this COMT enzyme right here, its job is to get rid of adrenaline, noradrenaline, and dopamine, but also estrogen, also insulin as well. So if you've inherited a genetic variant there, it's going to be slower than normal and you're going to get a backup of adrenaline. We've talked about that with mood and personality kind of things where that can cause anxiety and staying in a stressed state, but also it can cause estrogen dominance. And over time, this is one of the biggest offenders when it comes to estrogens building up in the body and is associated with estrogen-driven pathologies, including cancers. And down here, this guy, the sulfur transferase, it's an enzyme that gets rid of estrogens as well, as you can see here. The CYP enzyme right here gets rid of estrogens and glyphosates. This is one of the ones that gets rid of chemicals and pesticides and Roundup and that kind of thing out of the body. If you inherited genetic variants there, that can cause the estrogens to go up as well. And this guy, the UGT, glucuronol transferase, also involved in estrogen clearance. So those are four of the main genes that get estrogens out of the body. So if you have genetic variants there, you're more than likely to have estrogen dominance kinds of symptoms.
That was really helpful. And let me tell the viewers, listeners, this is actually a poster and an interactive chart for practitioners or just people that are interested in science. We just posted a video of this whole interactive aspect of this chart. If you really want to geek out, take a look for the video. And it's Dr. J explaining her creation. She designed this, she did all the work to create this, and nobody explains it better than she does. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, have a look for that. And I think that's about it for estrogen for today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. Just again, there's a lot of diet, lifestyle things you can do to lower your estrogen load. So anything you can do to just watch those things is going to be beneficial.
Yeah, I have to just say, I had estrogen dominance, fibroids. I finally had a partial hysterectomy because my periods were off the charts crazy. I was working with a Chinese medicine doctor, and she literally did everything to support my liver because, of course, that pathway was not functioning well. And had I known that I had genes related to that, it would have helped her look at the more of the pathways, right? She was focused on the liver because that's what made sense. But it was
Right.
clearly more than that. So if you are listening and you're suffering with any of these problems, I don't think they get better with age. I have to tell you, it was probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 years that it was really bad for me. And then I finally said, I got to get rid of the fibroids.
And then you ended up with a thyroid problem as well.
Right. And then I ended up with a thyroid problem anyway. But the thyroid is easier to manage.
That's the pattern that you see with people, the weight gain, but it sounds you maintain your weight really well, but you do a lot of things to manage that. But
Yeah.
the estrogen dominance causing the hormonal imbalances and then leading to thyroid problems. That's very one of the most common things that you see is
Yeah.
especially women on thyroid medication.
All I
And
wanted was my boobs to grow, but they didn't grow. Everything else grew. The fibroids grew like crazy. The boobs stayed the same.
no fair.
I know. All right, people, we will be back with another Q&A in another week or so. And thanks for watching. Please share if you think this was beneficial for you or if you think anybody else would benefit from it. And we'd love to hear your comments. Leave them below. Thanks, Dr. J.
Thanks, GC.